Grazie. Thank you, Lina and Lisa, for having joined us again virtually.
Grazie Antonio di averci con noi questo pomeriggio. Incontreremo anche la Lisa Barrett che adesso lavora con noi a CoAsIt che ha un ruolo particolare e nuovo per CoAsIt. Welcome Lisa.
Thank you, and I will apologize up front for my lack of Italian speaking. I'm so sorry that I don't speak Italian, but I am slowly trying to maybe get a few words.
That's fine, yes. So you have very interesting backgrounds and interests. Let's start. Lina, did you have some specific announcements or information from CoAsIt to present to the listeners?
Well, I think we would just want to start off, first of all, perhaps we want to just, apart from introducing Lisa as the new person that's doing some very important role for CoAsIt and for the providers, I would like for Lisa to talk about her role and what our plan is for CoAsIt for the next 12 months and the benefits of having someone like Lisa doing her role in the sector support and development.
So Lisa, what does sector support and development mean?
Well, to start with, is as it says, so even though I'm based with CoAsIt, it's sector support. So it is support for any providers of aged care, but specifically Italian providers as well. So that's the ability to go out and help them with their ongoing education of their staff, help with education of the volunteers, being able to get on top of all of the changes that are happening in aged care and to be able to disseminate that as providers are all busy caring for elder Australians there, and the amount of reading and changes is so big that someone like me can plow through it all and then send out the need to know information and follow that up to make sure providers understand what's happening.
Yes, and we were talking about it before coming on air and organizing today's conversation. You're mentioning podcasts for aged care now and artificial intelligence. And one reason why I really got it onto artificial intelligence, one of my colleagues here of Vincenzo Papandrea has a series of interviews, and he's always asking about artificial intelligence. He's intrigued, very intrigued about the opportunities and the risks, the dangers that it brings. So we'll get to that in a minute. What interesting podcasts are there, or are you creating them?
Yes. No, creating them, of course. Creating them myself. Okay. We have already done a set of AI podcasts that I had made previously, which is about aged care, what is happening, with providers in aged care, what things are becoming available, and how the technology is exploding. And coming up in the next few weeks, we are producing another set which drills down a little bit more into talking to actual users. And so it's about broadening people's horizons and saying that AI isn't just something that's up there, something that you ask questions and it's answered, because AI is all around us. Sometimes it's just technology we already know, renamed, things working in the background. We've used Google for years. We've asked questions and got an answer. Now we ask AI and we get an answer, and they do similar things sometimes. They just trawl the internet and come up with an answer that they can find. So it's partly about dispelling the myths of AI, but it is also about asking those questions, as you mentioned, and saying, is this scary? is this taking our jobs? Is this, is this renting space in our brains that we don't need? I do the podcast with a podcasting partner from multicultural aged care communities. We did our last set together as well. And it just so happens that it's part of his speciality is working with AI and innovation. And I am a very healthy skeptic of AI. So I actually know a lot about it because we've interviewed many quite high profile people, but I'm not necessarily as invested as some people are in the whole innovation of AI.
And yet, Lisa, it is the buzzword, and so many people are wanting to talk about it, and a lot of aged care providers, particularly in the bigger organisations, they are really using it within their system, aren't they?
Well, yes, because we tend to think that AI is this big thing, so that there are innovations where they might be using it to aid people with loneliness by creating language applications that will be able to chat with people when they're by themselves. But the majority of providers and people in general, I use it for very low grade things. So we're looking at simple things like rostering and financing and admin, things that generally people find a bit tedious.
And
So
policies,
yes,
aren't they? Mm.
yeah, it's the simpler things. Look, in the Barossa, there is an aged care facility, and they are using AI robots to do things like the linen. Yeah, which is on the one hand extremely exciting, and everybody wants to hear about it. And on the other hand, there are now less people working at that facility. And even though I heard to talk about it, that they were all very excited. They named the AI, the robots, and they all seem to be having this interpersonal relationship. Actually, it's not having a relationship with a person at all. It's having a relationship with an object. And aren't we better in all of society, whether we're older Australians or we're children, having real life interactions with people?
Yes, so these are interesting aspects of the whole topic of artificial intelligence. Where would one find these podcasts?
Well, so AI in aged care is the AI podcast.
Okay.
And again, we'll be having new episodes just coming out. It's on all the listening apps. So you could find it on Spotify or Apple or maybe Pocket Cast. It's also hosted at Buzzsprout. So if you were to search AI in aged care, it would come out AI in aged care at Buzzsprout, and you can find the website that it's hosted. And exactly the same for aged care info. So that's the other podcast that we do, which is maybe doesn't sound as sexy as AI, but it's where we are going to be able to talk to people in the know about things that are happening in aged care. So I have previously run this is a new venture for CoAsIt. I have previously run a successful aged care podcast in another region, and we're hoping to do a similar thing. So that's look at what we've got to offer so that people can hear about the assessment service. So if you want to access aged care, you have to have an assessment. So for providers, it's good to talk to the service about what they do. But then for people who are accessing the service, it's good to listen because they know what to expect, and they know how to deal with what's coming ahead. And the podcasts are not that long, so we try to make them about 20 minutes because nobody wants to listen to, finances for an hour, but maybe 20 minutes is great. So they're easily accessible. you can listen while you're doing the dishes or while you're in the car, or so you're not even taking time out of your day to sit down. You can be doing another thing and listen.
And Lisa, you've just done one recently, also with CoAsIt, and that was about the unit price. Can you describe a little bit?
That was on the Aged Care Info podcast. So this one, even though, I mean, I'm sure everybody needs to know about their own unit price, it's not as interesting for consumers as it is for providers, because with all the changes that are coming up, providers need to know how much per hour it costs to provide care and whatever service they're providing. Because with the changes that are coming along, that'll be the only way that providers can keep going, to know what their costs are, to know whether they've got to reduce costs, to know how they can make changes, while the elder Australian, which always should have been at the centre of care, with the new Aged Care Act, they've explicitly said the elder Australians are the centre of care. They have all the rights, all the principles, everything. So providers now need to know how to do that with there being no leakage around the edges, so to speak.
Yeah, so you've already started to answer, Lisa, the next question I was going to ask. So this new law is coming was supposed to start in July, but the government decided to delay it a bit, the new system's coming into operation in November. What are the big differences that we might notice?
Yeah, well, hopefully for people who are accessing services, they won't see any changes, only improvements. But what it offers is, it is saying now to people accessing the care, you have all the rights. You have the right to make your own decisions and to be respected, even if your provider doesn't like your decision. You are the one to be respected. You have the right to get all the information that you require to make these decisions, and your providers need to give you that information when you ask for it. They must respect your culture and your identity and the things that you feel are important, rather than the things that they feel are important. And hopefully everybody is already getting a service like that. But for those who may feel that they're not getting that service, there are pathways where they can complain easily and they can be heard, and they won't be sidelined because the priority is to listen to what they've got to say.
Okay, so the user, I don't know if you want to use them. Yeah, let's use the term user, whether you want to use customer, patient, the elderly person.
Everything all right? I can't see anyone talking.
Yes, and so the user now is at the centre of the new. Now will be much more at the centre of the new system, and I guess that gives them more decision-making rights, more rights to have their opinions heard.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a bit scary also? The elderly, sometimes they've now been accustomed to be told what to do.
Yes, I suppose. Sorry, I lost you for a minute. You all froze up, so I hope I didn't sound disjointed. I suppose it could be scary if you feel that getting a provider means that your provider tells you what you need. But maybe the reality is less scary. I mean, we're all in a position that sometimes we don't know what we're doing until somebody tells us what we need to do, and then we soon go in, no, we're not going to do that. So I think it's about allowing people to say, well, I'm not going to do that if they don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry if you get distracted. And look, I'm so sorry about this. He disappeared. I'm very sorry.
So there's there's a delightful bird has just entered Lisa's room and is yes, nice.
Nice touch. With that, it's an interesting question there about would it be scary? I think it's it's a positive thing that we are now in a position to support that notion even more than before. And I think there is a big shift, so that the power, if you like, is really with the consumer, if you like, or with the clients, and the responsibility of the provider or the carer is to ensure that clients understand what options they have, so that the whole range is put before them, so that they can really make informed choices about their own care. And if they need additional support, they can also include someone they can trust
Yes,
to help them make those decisions. Their own advocate, if you will, and that is part now. They're not required. They have the option to actually register that person to help them make those decisions.
yes, it's always useful to have someone, as you said, that you trust to support. This also places, I think, more onus on the providers to educate and inform the users. But are interpreters or translators going to be available? Is that an
Yes,
important part of the system?
well, because you have more of a right for your cultural needs. And I think it's the same for a lot of us. Obviously, I don't speak Italian, but I do speak Welsh. As you get older, sometimes your first language just pops into your head a little bit more than it used to. And there are multiple services that you can contact. Say, for example, from November, everybody to access the service needs to have a My Aged Care ID number and then an assessment. But if you're getting difficulty as an Italian person or any other thing, you can ring the National Translation and Interpreting Services. It's a 131450, and you ring the number. You can tell the people on the other end the language that you would prefer, and you get them to ring My Aged Care, and you can have a three-way conversation that can be interpreted for you. So I think that's
yes, and interestingly,
sorry.
just a few days ago, I was helping a family friend, and after a while, it was obvious that maybe an interpreter would be useful, and My Aged Care, actually did it all. So all you have to say is, yes, I would like an interpreter. And it doesn't mean that you don't understand English. These people I was helping actually had a reasonable level of English, but it wasn't 100%. And in moments of stress, when you're making big decisions, a bit of extra help provides comfort. I tell you, I've seen native English speakers, highly educated, make poor decisions because they were under stress usually it's in medical environments. So having that extra support is useful. And it can, because it reinforces what's been said. Even if you do have, if you've got only a 70% understanding, you can miss out important things and the communication breaks down.
Yeah, and when you ring My Aged Care, they're not necessarily going to say, why don't we ring the translation service for you? That is a bit of a downside, that if nobody knows the service is there, how can you access it? It doesn't matter how good the service is if you don't know about it.
Yeah, so it's important to know interpreter is always available if we want. That said, if anyone's listening here, this is in English, so they're probably understanding
So sorry.
a fair amount. But as I said, even having 80 or 90% is poor enough that the extra support is useful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And sorry,
Yes.
it's freezing again, but I'm just going to carry on talking. the government are making a big effort to get all of their leaflets and information that they have for older Australians interpreted. And lots of their leaflets now, you can ask your provider, if you have a provider, they can go onto the internet and they can download them, and they can download them in any language virtually. So the government have on their website now just says what language do you want it in, and we'll just give you a printed version for that language. So there's no excuses when it comes to info sheets and written information, because it is quite easy now to go onto the site and download it for people.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's giving more independence and control to the user. What does that really mean in practice?
That's a generic question.
Yeah.
What it should mean is that people who are vulnerable should be able to have access to information, because knowledge is power, that isn't actually given to them by a provider who is maybe not culturally appropriate or doesn't understand their needs. And people will have the ability to say, wait a minute, I need an interpreter, I need this, I need that. And because of the rights they have to be able to access it. And if they don't access it, there are government numbers they can ring, they can talk to people like ARIS, which are the Age Care advocacy services, and they can get their rights upheld.
Yeah.
Yes, so this adds an extra layer, but it's interesting because the person needs to know that whether they've been provided all the relevant information.
That's part of the new act that says, as a provider, you have to give this information over upfront when you begin services and say, these are all the things. And by the way, if you want to complain, this is how you do it. And if you want to access this service, this is how you do it. Obviously, hopefully you'll never have to, because we're amazing providers, but we're going to be very upfront with you. And that's part of what this new act is saying, is that it's not a need to know basis. It's everyone has to know at the beginning basis.
Yes, this is introducing what happened in the disability area several years ago. I was involved in disabilities as well, and the client, the user, was put at the centre and their requirements, and that changed the way disability services had to operate. It was no longer important to be able to write in grants, but to understand and to have good interaction between the carer and the client. And that should become the focus of attention, making sure that carers can provide all the appropriate help, support to the person that's seeking it out. How is this going to impact on CoAsIt? I'm sure you've been thinking about it. And
yeah, well, we are hoping that we are already providing a service that people are happy with, but it's like everybody else. The mountains of more paperwork, they're talking to clients that we are developing, and getting our backdoor resources ready so that when we walk through the front door, we can say to our clients, here you go, it's all ready for you. It's always the way, especially with very small providers, with fantastic clients, but limited abilities. We're all striving to be ready for the 1st of November. That said, I just want to reassure everybody that everything we've talked about, CoAsIt is already doing.
Yes, and for example, the services that I'm aware of are all really culturally appropriate because they're addressed to the Italian community. I just thinking of Unli Mensa, for example, and the various programs around the community. And actually, I hope to speak to some people from Unli Mensa soon in the next few months, because they've been going for many years, well over 30 years, I'm sure.
They have.
Yeah.
because they were in place even before CoAsIt started to be involved with some of these groups. And on that, I'd like to, if I may, just remind people that we have got 4 groups that people, that clients or the community can actually access. And as Lisa said, to do that, you need to ring My Aged Care. As we say every time, Antonio, on 1800200422, and you need to register, deve registrare con My Aged Care, e devi chiedere che volete avere un assessore che verrà a sua casa e che loro forse e poi possono fare la decisione con voi per vedere cosa avete bisogno. E se avete anche bisogno di uscire da casa, di andare a fare delle conversazioni con l'altra persona, altri italiani, di giocare a bocce, di fare esercizi, anche di parlare insieme, fare un pranzo o anche giocare a carte, allora le devi chiedere che deve avere un codice, soprattutto per CoAsIt, se volete andare ai nostri gruppi. I nostri gruppi si rivolgono nella campagna club mercoledì una volta 2 settimane. Quello si trova a Modbury North. La mensa, come sai benissimo Antonio, a Hanley, anche a Fullerton Park di mercoledì, 2 volte al mese. E poi Santa Maria Goretti ogni lunedì per giocare a carte più o meno, fare delle attività, e anche una volta al mese che fanno anche loro un pranzo. E adesso, se vi ricordate, c'era un Theberton Pensioners Association, che adesso questo gruppo è di CoAsIt, si rivolgono adesso a Lockleys, tutti i mercoledì. Allora, questa è una cosa che è cambiata, che siamo noi a dirigere questo gruppo, tutto va bene, e se volete, per favore, potete telefonare anche a CoAsIt, come lo sapete, 8223 33 e 11. Possiamo sempre dare degli avvisi e potete parlare con noi.
Ecco, adesso mando in onda un altro messaggio riguardo il CoAsIt e poi torniamo per dare l'arrivederci a Lina e Lisa. Yes, and that message says that it helps to live a fulfilling life, yes, through the activities of CoAsIt. Very important and increasingly important as we're living longer, aging, and hopefully aging well. And having the social activities of organisations like CoAsIt is extremely important. So now yes, we have to go. Oh, we've gone over time. It seems to happen regularly with CoAsIt. Thank you very much, Lina and Lisa, for your contributions, and looking forward to speaking to you again in a few weeks' time.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Arrivederci.
Thank you.